today is an update on the Insta360 ONE X. Because I broke it. Yep, I broke it. I busted the lens, one of them. Put an X on this side so that I could still use it, kind of, and I'd be able to look at the camera quickly and know which side had a big gink on the lens. Can you see it? Wait, look at that chinge on the lens. Oh, yeah, it's broken. Little story time, I was on my new electric skateboard that Morgan got me. Review coming soon. And I was cruising around Carlsbad, getting some really cool shots on the Insta360 ONE X. And I was pretty much done shooting for the day. I was headed back to my car. I stopped at a stoplight, but still had the controller for the skateboard in my hand when I was trying to fix something on my backpack, and I accidentally hit the thumb wheel, like a tiny bit. And basically the skateboard just kind of went, yep. So I didn't fall as much as I sat down quickly and unintentionally. And when I did that, I had this in my hand and it went on the pavement. Yeah, I scratched the lens. Luckily though, Insta360 is amazing. Thank you, Insta360. Sent me another one. So they sent me another Insta360 ONE X, and this one I'm gonna take much better care of because they sent me the Venture case. It's their waterproof case, but it's mainly designed for being like rugged and protective, not so much for the water. It can go underwater, it is waterproof, but if you're using the 360 camera underwater, there's something they call a dive case, and you're supposed to get that one so that it works underwater properly. So this case is for above water, on land protection, but if it goes in water, or if you like wanna go surfing with it, this will work also. But not for underwater usage. Yeah. So now that I have another ONE X, I'm gonna talk a little bit about kind of what I've used this for, what I think on it now after using it for a few months and after having broken one, and just generally some of the pros and cons about this little sweet camera 360 device. So first up, let's hit some pros on this camera. It's amazing. The photos that come out of it, the videos that come out of it are super impressive. I've been very impressed with the quality of the footage from this thing. Where it really shines though is what they call flow state stabilization. The stabilization on it it's bananas good, and it uses the gyro information to know which way is up. So you can just kind of flip this thing around, but it stays right side up. It's amazing though. It kind of breaks your brain when you see how stabilized it is. For a 360 camera, it is super easy to use. I've used plenty of 360 setups in the past that were way harder, and the app I think is the main thing that makes that so possible. The app is just a super smooth experience. You just Wi-Fi the files from your camera to your phone, and then boom, you're editing and uploading and transferring to your computer or online. It's a super impressive little workflow for a 360 cam. Overall, this camera just kind of sold me on the whole 360 world. I always thought that 360 footage was gimmicky, but as soon as I realized that I could use 360 footage to reframe and create normal footage out of it, I think I started seeing it as a super versatile tool. Even really simple things, like we were getting on the plane going to Cincinnati this last week, and I just kind of carried this through the airport with me, and afterwards I was able to get all these really cool shots that I didn't really have to think about shooting. I didn't think about, oh, I have to point this at myself or point this at something. I just kind of held it up in the air, got on the plane, got off the plane, did all the airport things that we normally do, and then later in post, I could sit down and look around and like reframe a shot, and very impressive device. If you haven't seen the impossible shot video that I made yet, click there, you've got to see it. If that doesn't sell you on 360 cameras, I don't know what will, because that is what broke my brain, realizing that this camera could be put into the weirdest places and you could still get the coolest shots that you legit could not get with another camera. And lastly, it's a really cool party trick. Remember when drones first came out and you'd go out with your Phantom and you'd start flying it, and as soon as it was in the air, you'd have like all these strangers crowd around you looking at your screen and asking you a bunch of dumb questions.
Hey, how far can that thing go? Hey, how high can that thing go? Hey, what's that thing cost? Hey, can I try that?
No, you cannot try it. And you can't try this either, because it's fragile. Very, very, very fragile. And similar to that experience with drones, you get that experience with this. You're kind of the first, or one of the first, to have one of these out in the wild. Not a lot of people have them, so when you go somewhere, you hold it up on the selfie stick, people look at it first and go, what in the crap is that? And they wanna talk about it, and they wanna come over and look at your screen, and you show that it's 360, and they kind of freak out, and their minds are blown. It's fun. It's fun to, if you're an early adopter like me of new things, that's half the fun, is to be like, hey, look at my new toy. Look what I can do. Yeah, so because of how incredibly cool this thing is, I will be using it a ton. It'll be in a bunch of my videos, including one coming up next week that's all about this thing, viral light. I think it's viral, or it's viral because it's on a wire. Wow. That took me too long to realize that that's why they called it viral. Anyways, I'll be making a video about the viral light next week, and I'm gonna dangle the Insta360 below it. I'm also gonna dangle the GoPro and Osmo Action and my phone, whatever cameras I can get my hands on. I'm gonna dangle below that thing next week. So subscribe and follow along. All right, with all those good things said about this camera, what have I learned about this camera that kind of needs improvement? First things first, you need a venture case. You should not own this camera without a venture case. Oh, it's so big. This is a big case. It's, look at that thing. This is the venture case. And while, how do you get it apart? Insta360 into the venture case. And now this thing is protected by the case. So now when I take a digger, the case takes the shot and not my lenses. Although the case does not have removable lenses either, which means if you scratch the case, you gotta buy a new case. In general though, I've learned that if you're going to spend $400 on this camera, you gotta get the venture case. It's ridiculously easy to bust this camera if you do not have it in a case. Insta360 in the case, the venture case. The thing about a case though is that it really changes the user experience. One, it's for sure much bigger and a little bit heavier. Not horrible, but not horrible as far as weight. But look at size, look at the difference. It changes the size hugely. It's a massive difference. It's a massive case. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. This makes it ugly. For sure makes it big and ugly. But it's now protected and it's now waterproof, which I do really want it to be. The other problem with it in the case is it makes very simple tasks much harder. To change the battery with that out of the case, I just open this little door here and change the battery. But when it's in the case, I have to change the battery. Gotta take this bit off, pop it out of its thing. Hold on. Pop it out of that frame first. Push the button on the side and open the whole door bit. Get it out. Lay these down somewhere careful, because again, that's kind of your lens now, since they don't replace anywhere. Now I can change the battery, put a new battery back in, I put the camera back in here, I close it up, I close the door, I put it in the frame. Come on. Put this back on there, get it lined up, come on. Time. I don't know how much longer that took me, but as a user experience, that's obviously a lot longer than just doing this. So I get why people want to walk around just with this. It's smaller, it's lighter, it's easier to get the battery in and out, it's easier to get the SD card in and out, but it's one of those things, it's not if you're gonna scratch your lens, it's when. So get a venture case, you gotta get it. It's part of the experience right now, unfortunately. Next up is audio. Audio it's pretty poopy on it. It's not great. It's not terrible. You can for sure use the audio from it, but if you put it in a venture case, you can't. You're not gonna be able to hear the audio from this thing at all. Once it's in here, it's pretty much video and photo only, no audio. And the workaround for that, which isn't a great solution, but it is a good solution, is this guy. This is the Rode Smart Lav. You just take this little guy here. You can put it in his clip, or you can put it in one of the little clear bits. I like to use these guys. So you pop the little foam cover off of your lav, you stick your lav in here, and then you use double-sided tape to stick it just under your shirt so you can't see it. Well, hold on, you go up your shirt first, then you stick it right here, and then your shirt just covers it. Then you plug this end into your cell phone, open up voice memos on your phone, put this into your pocket, clap once, and then record away, do your thing, and in post, you can sync those up. You won't be able to hear audio very good through this, but you will be able to hear that clap, and that clap is just enough to get your audio and your video lined up. And then you could totally vlog on this thing. You could totally use it for anything video, audio, and it would sound pretty good, and it would work pretty well. So yes, with the Venture case, what is mediocre audio at best becomes entirely unusable, terrible in a case audio. Which honestly, all of this Venture case talk, it makes me think of the GoPro 4 and what we all complained about with the GoPro 4. It wasn't waterproof unless it was in this bulky, heavy case. And once it was in the case, the audio became unusable. And finally, cons for the Insta360 ONE X. The SD card, also very recessed. It's way in there, just like the Osmo Action. You are probably not getting this out with your fingernail. Although, it's probably good that it's recessed because there's no door that goes over it. So if it was closer up, you could for sure maybe accidentally knock it and it pop out. But Insta360, follow me here, you make this whole camera waterproof. You put a door over the SD card so it doesn't have to be recessed so much. And over each lens, you put a clear, screwable lens over top of it that can be user replaced. And you up the audio quality a little bit. Oh yeah, it's for sure a little heavier on the stick. I think you don't feel the weight until you're on the stick, and then you, oh yeah. That's heavier. It's still not horrible, but it's not great. Insta360, just make this one waterproof. All right, I think that's it. I just wanted to update you guys on what's been going on with this camera, let you know that I already broke it once. So for sure, go buy the Venture case if you went and bought this camera after my last video. And next week, I will be dangling it underneath the wire light. We'll see what kind of shots we get. Maybe we'll go to the beach or up to Big Bear or something like that. Oh, through the trees would look sweet. Or maybe just some indoor stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I'm for sure gonna play with this next week. I've had this thing for a while and it still hasn't come out of the box yet. I'm going to review it next week, along with the rest of this pile. Let me know what you guys think about the Insta360 in the comments, and what you think about the Venture case, the fact that it has to be in this case, or it should be. I think it has to be. Just put it in here, leave it in here. All right, that's really it for today, I think. That's all I have to say about the ONE X. Yeah. Oh my gosh, one last thing. You gotta get this too. They make a dual battery charger. Just like the GoPro dual battery charger, Insta360 makes a battery charger that's dual batteries. And I have a pro tip for you guys about these chargers. About both of them, really. I haven't done it in this one. All right, I haven't done it to this. On the GoPro dual battery charger, I put 2 little silver dots on one side. And then on my batteries, I put little silver markings. That way, when I put them in there, I line those up. Usually you just grab it, you throw it in there and you go, oh, that doesn't go that way. I hate that, so you flip it around. But with these, it doesn't even have a thing on it, like a thing. So you gotta mark it because it only goes one way and it only charges one way. This is just a silver Sharpie, by the way. But if I mark one side with silver, and then I can then mark this side. So now this side has silver marks on it. My charger has silver marks on it. I can just slap it in and yeah, I don't have to look at it so often. I don't have to sit there and go, yeah, which side is the thing on and in there? I can just look and go silver, silver, boom. Pro tip, aren't you glad you watched the whole video? You would have missed out on that pro tip had you not watched this whole video. That's even a pro tip for GoPro. You might just have a GoPro and that's a GoPro pro tip too. Subscribe, like, comment. Do the YouTubery things. Like, comment, and subscribe. I should make a subscribe song. Stick a subscribe out. Stick a subscribe out. You got to subscribe. You got to. No? Just me?